that time.
Good evening, everyone. And I'd like to welcome everybody to the December 16th Speedway Redevelopment Commission meeting. And I appreciate everybody coming out on such, inclement conditions. I know it's a little dicey out there, and we're facing our second wave of snow. So I really appreciate everyone being able to make it. I'd like to call the commission meeting to order. My name is Tom Popchaff. I'm the president of the Redevelopment Commission. And I would like to introduce the rest of the commission members. To my immediate right is Gordon Rundle, commission member. To my left is Brody Duncan, vice president. To his left is Rhonda Schwartz, the secretary of the commission. To her left is Jennifer Miller, commission member. And to her left is Dr. Terry Reed, who represents the Speedway School Corporation. And let me introduce our staff. On the very far right, we have Tim Gropp, who's our Economic Development Director for the town of Speedway. And on the very far left is Tim Ramian, the Executive Assistant to the Redevelopment Commission. And I'd also like to welcome, Mr. Gary Rakes, recently re-elected council member for the town of Speedway. Thank you for coming out. I'm sure you ran down rather than he drove in his four-wheel drive. Great. So we do have a quorum to conduct our business this evening, and proper notice of our meeting was posted as required by Indiana law. So the next item of business that we have is any public commentary. More than welcome to come to the lectern. But since it is rather inclement and we don't have any public members here present this evening, I think we can move on to the next item. And the next item is the consent of our meeting minutes for the regular session of November 18th, 2019. And those meeting minutes had been previously distributed and given everybody the opportunity to review and comment. And since that process has been completed, I'll give everybody one last opportunity to make any comments or suggested edits. Hearing none, we will go ahead and accept the meeting minutes of our session on November 18th by consent. The next is the approval of claims and expenses. And again, our clerk treasurer, Monty Combs, had distributed those prior to this evening's meeting, so everyone has had an opportunity to review those. But I will ask Tim if there is anything unusual. It appears to be normal and customary.
Yeah, the only thing that's a little beyond is the surety bonds, which we hold on all of our members for liability reasons. And
right.
We keep those on file in the Redevelopment Commission offices.
And those are updated every year?
Every year, yep.
Correct. So I'd like to accept a motion to accept the Register of Claims for the Redevelopment Commission as distributed.
Mr. President, I move that we accept the claims.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the table. Do we have any further questions, comments? Hearing none, let's take it to a vote. All those in favor of accepting the Register of Claims, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Next agenda item is our project updates, and I will turn this over to Mr. Gropp to go through the 4 projects that we have listed on our agenda this evening.
Okay. Wilshaw Project, there's not much of an update at this moment other than internally we have had some conversations and are working on documents to make sure that on our end we're staying in compliance with the Economic Development Agreement. So we'll be able to take any action necessary as the new year comes up. With that being said, our attorney Dennis Otten with Bose McKinney is continuing to communicate with Drew and Kyle and the Loftus Robinson team. They actually missed each other this week, so they have calls into each other, and as soon as I get an update, I will let everybody know, but they're continuing to work through their issues, and we hope to have those resolved soon. Once everything does get resolved on their end, that we've been told that Wilhelm would be able to re-engage in about 2 weeks. So we're waiting on that go-ahead, and then a couple weeks after that. But if we do get that go-ahead, we'll make sure that we push that message out as soon as possible, because I know everybody's anticipating moving that project forward, and we're excited to see that project continue on. So that's all I have at this time for
All right,
Wilshaw.
any additional questions of Tim on the Wilshaw project? How about Founders Square, 2500 North High School Road?
Yeah, so we're really close to having that project kick off here. We were pushing really hard to have it, have at least the financial side all tied up by the end of the year. We just felt like we were rushing a little bit. The bond markets aren't as good right now. So this week, we are going to finalize all the development agreements. We expect Circle K that we've been waiting on, the agreements with them to make that portion of the deal work. We hope to have those signed by the end of the day tomorrow. It looks like we should have that. And so if we have everything in line by the end of the week, we will close on the land sale and the bond the first full week of January. And we'll immediately have Atlas Excavating out there doing their due diligence. It'll take a little while for some permitting, but we'll release them to start on the project right away, and hopefully we can have a groundbreaking in the middle of January like everybody loves to have. So
We got to shovel the snow.
nothing like
first, right?
pushing some dirt in the middle of January. So
Yeah.
it's been a long time coming. We've been working on this project for many years. So we're at the finish line. Everything's lining up really well. We just hope to have everything signed by the end of the year and executed that first week back. So
That sounds encouraging.
exciting.
Any further questions of Tim? Let's move on to the 1300 block of Main Street.
No major update there. I know we're still anticipating a demo of the Auto Tech building here, probably in January now would be my guess. We're waiting on IPL to give us the go-ahead that everything's been disconnected and taken care of on their end as well. And I think we still just need to reach out to the water department and take care of that, but that's more on our end once IPL clears up. And then the demo of that property will move forward. And then we're also anticipating moving the storage shed that's in the back of the property to utilize that for storage of items for the Light the Night event. So we'll be moving that onto town property and utilizing that shed, which is still in good shape. So I'm glad that we're able to reuse it. So
I'm glad Tim's able to find a contractor that could move that at a reasonable price. Glad to hear that. Any additional questions on 1300? Well, let's talk about our final project, the Gilman Street Able Lazier project.
everything's moving along fine there. Obviously, the weather's going to hamper some of the development. They did get under roof prior to the bad weather, so they're doing some concrete work, and they were putting some early asphalt down. That's probably going to stop at this point. So they'll continue to work on the inside and get everything done over the winter, and they were hoping to be open sometime in March. We'll see if they might have some finishing items when the weather breaks, finishing the lot and whatnot, but everything's moving fine, and we're excited to see that building up and running, because there's quite a bit of interest of people looking at space.
That's great.
In Speedway.
That'll be a nice project, nice building. Any questions of Tim on the Gilman project? Well, Tim, thank you very much for those project updates. Let's move on to our new business. We have one resolution, Resolution 2019-17, and it's a resolution concerning the acquisition of real property. That resolution has been distributed along with our meeting materials, and it involves the authority to pursue the acquisition of real estate property located and is available here in Speedway. Tim, do you want to give us a little overview?
So, yeah, there's a few pieces of property we're looking at on West 16th Street, and this resolution is pretty standard with the process put in place by Indiana state statute that allows us to offer for property not to exceed the average of 2 appraisals. And we've gotten 1 appraisal in. We're waiting on the second appraisal.
Anybody have any questions of Tim regarding the proposed resolution? I'll entertain a motion to accept Resolution 2019-17 concerning the acquisition of real property.
Mr. President, I move that we accept Resolution 2019-17, the resolution concerning the acquisition of real property.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the table. Any further discussion or questions concerning the resolution under consideration? Well, hearing none, let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of accepting resolution number 2019-17, a resolution concerning the acquisition of real property, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. All right, concerning the
1 second, Tom.
average appraisal, I was just getting ready, Brody, concerning the average appraisal, at that point, we will extend an offer, and I believe you have another motion that you'd like to make.
Yeah, I wanted to, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion for yourself and the Economic Director, Tim Gropp, to negotiate the purchase price of the real property to be approved, value to be approved by the SRC.
Okay. I have a motion granting the authority to the President and our Economic Development Director to handle negotiations contingent upon final approval by the SRC. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions regarding Mr. Duncan's motion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and take it to a vote. All those in favor of accepting the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Brody, I appreciate that. Next item we have is the distribution of our 2020 meeting dates, and we have a listing of those meeting dates that have been distributed along with our meeting materials. And I know those have probably been posted on social media at this stage yet.
The council actually approved a third Monday. We were on the list, I believe, because we have a continuous meeting. So that has been published, and then we'll make sure that the actual dates are on our website. There's just one that is of note, which is the January meeting is actually a Tuesday, January 21st, and that is due to Martin Luther King Day.
So those, I want to remind everybody, with the exception of the January Tuesday meeting, the regular sessions of SRC are always held on the third Monday of every month. And, I always encourage active participation and attendance, and I realize the weather conditions discourage an awful lot of the general attendees, the normal attendees this evening. But please try to encourage your neighbors and friends, to please either attend our meetings or tune in on the streaming YouTube channel. It's always kind of fun to see, how many individuals actually, view our meetings. And I like a little friendly competition with the town council to see how many people actually view the town council meetings opposed to our meetings. And generally, it's topical, isn't it, Carrie? Yep, it is. It's topical. So let's move on to the next item, and that is old business, which we have none. And then the next to the last item is our director's report. And Tim, I'd like to turn that to you to let us know if you've got anything to report in our last meeting of the calendar year.
Yeah, I will report that at the last town council meeting, the town council reappointed all of the redevelopment commission directors for the 2020 year. So welcome back, everybody, and we're excited to continue a lot of the progress that we started in 2019. And that's about it, I think. Just have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and hopefully we can see some of these projects move forward again and have some construction early in 2020.
That's great.
So a lot of good projects that are teed up and ready to go, so it should be a good
I was
year.
really pleased and honored to hear that all of us were reappointed for 2020. I think we have an excellent group with a lot of varied skills and experiences, and I've thoroughly enjoyed working with everyone this year. Does anybody else have any last announcements or comments?
I do not.
You want to get out of here?
Make it home.
We've got long distances to travel. Well, thank you, everybody, and, I want to wish everybody the happiest and safest of holidays, and Merry Christmas and a New Year, and I trust that everyone will be safe and enjoy the holidays with your family and friends. I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting by consent. Meeting's adjourned.